Welcome to TalkFCB and welcome back here to the channel, guys, to a Barcelona news roundup coming up for you today with all the latest news from the world of FCB. We're going to be talking today about the latest on football's possible return and when that might be. What is the situation? We're also going to be talking about the future of talented centre-back Jean-Claire Todibo, along with Lionel Messi's future too, and some words from our assistant coach, Eder Sarabia. It's all coming up in today's video. Thanks for joining me. Let's do this. But if we kick off there with the latest on football's return, which of course is at the forefront of everybody's minds right now, along with the pandemic, of course, our thoughts go out. All of us want everybody to recover, want everybody there to stay safe during these times. But it has been reported, of course, about football's return. We've heard several different things about deadlines, about return dates. But what can you believe right now? What we do know is that FIFA are going to have to make some changes. We know that FIFA there are going to have to relax a few of their guidelines, a few of their rules, in order there to see these seasons end in the way the leagues want to. Because the leagues right now are very, very adamant that football must go on, that these seasons simply must be finished. And in order to achieve that possibility, FIFA there, like I say, are going to have to make some big, big changes, which are going to have to come into effect right across the board. One aspect there that's going to be mentioned is the deadline for the end of the season, which originally it was rumoured that by August, everything had to be done. Everything there by August had to be completed, and that was set in stone. That couldn't change. However, FIFA apparently are going to provide their maximum flexibility on the end of the season deadlines, allowing each league freedom of when they'd like to finish. Because the problem, of course, with this pandemic is that everybody is affected in different ways. You've got different countries there at different stages, and we're not all at the same point right now. So each league there will most likely have the ability to decide when to return and ultimately when to finish their season. The other key changes likely are to be brought in around the transfer market and also their surrounding contract expirations, because the transfer window in particular is expected to change there on a temporary basis. Potentially they're going to extend the transfer window there until January of 2021, as we've discussed on the channel before. But of course that is not confirmed yet, but it is expected there is going to be allowed more time to make those transfers happen, simply because there's so much uncertainty right now surrounding the finances in the football world. And then of course there's all stuff about the player contracts, with many players set to be out of contract from July the 1st, and FIFA there are expected to allow short-term extensions to these deals if they can be agreed there with the players and the clubs to make sure there's no issues with those expiring contracts. And although right now we still have no idea at this stage exactly when football is going to return, I do want to bring you a little bit of light perhaps at the end of the tunnel. We don't know how close the end of that tunnel is, but right now I do want to say that Bayern Munich did return to training on Monday in Germany, with the players there undergoing tests for the virus before they went into training. They're going to get the results back there, not immediately, but in a few days. They're also there going to have very, very strict measures at the training ground. Today, there was no handshakes, there was no close contact, there was no one-on-one duels. The players there were still keeping their distance, but they were back as such in some sort of training. And quite clearly, it is going to be small steps. We're not going to suddenly return to football overnight. Not everything is going to go back to normal immediately. But I think in terms of where it's likely to come back first, you are looking at Germany. You are looking right now at the Bundesliga. I think that will be the first league to return whenever that time comes. And then we could see nation by nation football coming back quite slowly. We still don't know when, but ultimately it is going to be eventually. But if we do now move on to the Barcelona front in terms of Jean-Claire Todibo, with Schalke's head of sport, Jochen Schneider, who was asked by German outlet Kicker about the possibility there of Schalke this summer activating that buy option that they have on Jean-Claire Todibo for 25 million euros plus 5 million in add-ons. And he was basically asked there, Schalke's head of sport, is that going to happen? Is Todibo still going to become a Schalke player? And the answer for Barcelona fans is so encouraging, because he said you don't have to be a prophet to say the probability of signing Todibo has decreased due to the current crisis situation. Kicker do go on to say that Schalke would be interested in extending Todibo's loan if it was possible there to agree that deal, which isn't surprising given the way that he has adapted there, the way that he's impressed there. They do want to keep him, but ultimately right now they're going to really struggle to buy him permanently, which for us Barcelona Barcelona fans is honestly fantastic news. We all want Todibo to return to the club. We're very, very annoyed that he was even allowed to go out on loan in the first place. And I think certainly there, if Todibo could return this summer, that could be very, very significant for the club. It would be a massive step in the right direction there at the heart of our defence. And I think for all of us, to think there about Todibo getting chances in a Barcelona shirt, that's what we want. And I think under Setien, undoubtedly there, he would get more game time, and especially with that experience that he's gained in the Bundesliga. That's going to help him too. He'll come back a better player. And that's exciting for us. I do want to bring you now, though, some words from Barcelona's assistant coach, Eder Sarabia, who was, of course, very much in the spotlight before football came to an end for the time being. He was speaking there on Instagram Live about him and Setien arriving at Barcelona back in January and the way that it all came about and how he's adapted, really, as the assistant coach of the club. He said when we arrived halfway through the season, we'd seen a lot of Barcelona games, we'd analysed so much. But he said until you're actually inside the dressing room and you get to know the players, you don't fully understand them and how to make them work. He said these players are all very, very different in their own way. He said it's important for a coach to know that and to understand them, to get the very best out of them. He said we have personalised plans right now for all of the players. We speak with them still on a regular basis. They all give us some feedback. He said we do like players who give us opinions. He said we get on very well with all of the players. He said most of them right now do have the right material they need to keep fit and to keep themselves firmly in shape. He said those that didn't have the material have been able there to ask for it from the club. He said, I cannot wait to be back with the players though. He said, I've been watching videos, I'm speaking with the coach regularly about details and analysing them. We are taking advantage of this time to prepare for when we can play again. He said we got a really good relationship with all of the players. We're all going to be working hard for the return of La Liga. We're looking forward to fighting for all the titles. And that just shows there that Eder Sarabia and Quique Setien, they do strike me as people as certainly in their profession, they want to work and work and work until they get it absolutely right. And I think in their break, they're not just going to be sitting back there and relaxing. They're still going to be working very, very hard on the tactical side of things. They're going to be working there on drills that they can bring to the players once we're back in action in those training sessions. They're still going to be working very, very hard to get the very best out of this Barcelona team. And this break, of course, they will use it to their advantage. And just finally, on Instagram there, Sarabia was inevitably asked about working with Lionel Messi. What did he think of him? How highly did he rate him? And he replied there with a brilliant quote. He said, Leo Messi is perhaps the best athlete of all time. Not just footballer, but he said there, perhaps the best athlete of all time. And he said, of course, the best footballer. He said it's amazing because of his knowledge on the field, because of the execution in his game. He said it's a privilege to work with him. And on that subject, on the subject there of Lionel Messi, a few people have been wondering about these Inter Messi rumours. Is there any substance to them? Is there any reality there to Messi perhaps ending up at Inter Milan? It's not the first time that Messi has been linked Inter. That has happened a few times in the past over the years, because during a radio interview this week, former Inter president Massimo Moratti admitted that Messi to Inter could still become a reality. He said the following words. He said, I don't believe Messi is a forbidden dream at all. Maybe it never was, even before all of this misfortune. He said, without doubt, it would be a tremendous effort to get him here. But he said he is in the final year of his deal. I don't know if the current situation changes anything, for better or for worse, but I do think we will see some strange things happen at the end of the year. So Moratti there believes that Messi still could end up leaving Barcelona, but he was then asked about the deal that could see Lautaro end up Barcelona, to which he said, Lautaro is a good boy who cares about his career, but we shall see if he's part of a deal which could help bring in more important players like Leo Messi. So Moratti here, the former Inter president, clearly he believes Messi is a possibility. But to be honest, I think we can all agree there that those comments seem extremely ambitious from his point of view and from the point of view there of Inter. And Barcelona, reportedly, according to Marca, have exactly the same view. Barcelona, Marca say, have no concerns at all over Moratti's comments. They're still very convinced that Messi will sign a new contract. That expiring deal is not news to them. It's not something surprising, but they do believe that Messi will be signing that new contract. And of course, let's not forget that time and time and time again, Messi's come out and said publicly he wants to stay at Barcelona, and we fully expect that to happen. Marca also go on to say, though, that those inside Barcelona actually believe these type of comments are coming out now in the public domain, basically to push Barcelona away from Lautaro. Maybe it was almost a threat there from Inter. You come and try and get Lautaro, maybe we'll go for Messi, but I think we can all rest easy. I think we know that Messi, he does want to stay here. I'm sure he will stay here. Nothing to worry about right now. There's no concern from Barca. So that there, guys, is where we currently stand in terms of football and everything that comes with it on the Barcelona front right now. I thought it was very interesting there to hear the words of Eder Sarabia, especially there talking about his relationship with the players and also, of course, how highly he does rate Lionel Messi. Please leave your thoughts in the comments down below on everything we have discussed in today's news roundup. And like I said before, I really want to be back now with the consistent uploads, keeping you guys updated and, of course, keeping you entertained. Thanks for your support. It means a great deal, especially in these times. I'll see you soon. But until next time, as always, Visca el Barça.